So just for anyone who isn't already aware, why don't you tell me a little bit about what your film is all about?
So my film's called Swansong, and I'm the writer-director. And it's a film really about, well, all kinds of things. But the premise is a rock star or an ex-rock star who turns into a kidnapper. And it's a dark comedy, and sort of dark comedy thriller. So it's funny in places, and in places it's really not funny at all.
And what was it that inspired the film for you and made you want to bring it to the big screen?
I've seen a lot of films about celebrity, fame, people becoming successful, people who are successful and can't deal with it. But I hadn't seen a film about a guy or anyone who had been successful, had some degree of sort of success, celebrity, and had then lost it, or just it naturally had sort of disappeared. I actually saw this comedian in a bank about a year or two ago who, if I gave his name, you'd know him. He was on national television maybe 10 years ago, super successful. But now, I don't know what he's doing. Well, I know he's in a bank arguing about his contactless credit card. And I just wondered what was this guy's life? What does he do all day? And so I was kind of interested in that.
And what are some of the challenges that you face when working in independent film and on kind of a smaller budget, I guess?
Well, actually, I think smaller budget in some ways is not such a big problem because there's loads of stuff you just can't do. So you don't worry about whether or not I'm going to do this or whether or not I'm going to do that because it's just not an option. And also because everyone working on the film, they know that that's the deal. In fact, you have a lot less decisions to make in some ways. So actually it's really quite freeing. And although we had a very small budget, we did still have money. And if you've got some money, you don't need to have a lot of money. It's amazing how much people will help you out. And I think in terms of making a British independent film, I mean, the sort of support we had from people around London, but around the whole country, from places like Pinewood Studios, from the companies that rented the equipment, camera equipment to us, they was just so unbelievably helpful. And even though they probably get phone calls like the ones we were making all day, every day, people asking if you can possibly help us, they were so kind. So yeah, it's actually, I would say to anyone thinking of doing it, it's not such a big hill to climb, but you do need some money.
Why do you think independent films are so important to the industry?
Well, for a lot of reasons. I guess for a lot of people, an independent film will maybe a low-budget independent film will be their first chance of telling a story longer than a short film, and it is a completely different thing. But also, I think because we're living in a time where you can do it, so it means that people who maybe 20 years ago didn't know the right people, didn't have a story that could have necessarily guaranteed a large enough audience to be worth spending 3, 4, 5 or more £1 million on, they can make their films and they can find their audience.
Do you have a favourite British independent film?
The thing is, I've got so many films that I love for different reasons and so many different filmmakers, and I particularly admire filmmakers often, even if some of their films I don't necessarily like. I really admire the fact that they're doing it. But the person who comes to mind at the moment who's making films is probably Ben Wheatley, as I worked briefly for the same company as him, and I've seen what he's done, and he's been very inspiring to me.
Why do you think festivals like Raindance are so important to independent film and to the film industry in general?
I think having made an independent film, you realise that actually no one cares. And apart from your immediate friends and family who you constantly tell about it, the wider world, I mean, they're just not interested unless you make them interested. And what something like the Raindance Film Festival and Raindance as an organisation, and what just this entire body of independent filmmakers as a group can do is raise awareness of those films, and actually also there is an audience for those films and they want to watch it, and it kind of puts the two together. So yeah, it's really, 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 really helpful and important.
How do you feel to have your film here at Raindance this year?
So excited. Yeah, it's brilliant to be in Raindance and to be in competition for Best UK Feature. Off the charts levels of excitement from everyone involved. It's brilliant. It's really, really, really exciting.
What do you maybe hope an audience will take away with them after going to see Swansong?
Well, I think hopefully Swansong will entertain them, make them laugh, but also by the end of it make them think a little bit about the things they've laughed about. It is a comedy and it is entertaining, but there's a slight tragic, sorrowful theme running through it, and I hope that people will reflect on some of that element too.